All right, let's see how much yellow juice we get on this insane map. 310% quant map. Boom. 25,800 yellow juice on this one map. So at a very moderate bulk price, we're looking at 6.9 divines minus, about a divine invested into the map. And we got a Sacred Blossom. So we are over 6 divines profit on this one map as well. Let's keep going. In 3.24 Necropolis League, everything that we know about how we farm is very, very different now. And in the new world of Scarab and Go, I think Harvest is one of the big winners. And, at least in 324 Necropolis League, it is very, very strong. Even halfway through a dead league, it is still one of the best and most easily accessible farms that is out there. So let's start talking about it really, really quickly. So starting from the absolute basics, what is Harvest? Harvest is the league, Harvest League, the league encounter that you see in a map. You'll see something here called the Sacred Grove. It has this blue and white icon, kind of looks like a bulb, like something that you would place to grow. And inside of the Harvest encounter, you will see these plots. And, you can skip ahead. There's timestamps in the video. You can skip ahead if you don't want to see, just the basics here if you already know them. But you will see these plots inside the Harvest encounter. You will have to click them twice. By default, when you click one of them, they'll be in pairs as well. Some of them will be solo. Some of them will have pairs. If by default, if you don't have anything else enabled, when you click on one, it will wilt the other one. So you only get the value out of one of them. The purpose is to kill monsters that then drop life force. And then when with the life force that you get, there are 3 different colors: yellow, purple, or red. Some people say purple, some people say red, and then blue. And what this life force is it looks like this. It goes in your currency tab under exotic right here. And then in the Horde crafting station, you can use that amount of currency to do a certain thing. Also, this video is primarily focused on how you can farm the most life force possible and then sell that life force. The scope of talking about how you can use all of this stuff in here to make money, that is really just more of a crafting focus type of thing. You get this life force, and then the reason why people want that life force, why it has value in the economy, is you can do all these different things in here. And there are some of them that are relatively expensive, such as 1,500 yellow life force to sacrifice half a stack of div cards to receive between 0 and twice that amount. Because we all know Path of Exile players are absolutely addicted to gambling, this is actually the most expensive life force. When you get to about 3+ weeks into a league, this, over the past couple leagues, has proven to be the most expensive, the biggest expenditure of life force, actually. Just to give you a very quick frame of reference, I'll show you guys the current prices of the life force right here. So if I say stock about 32,000, it's looking like about 3,900 to 3,800 of yellow life force to a divine. And then it is about a little bit less than half, not quite a third, but a little bit less than half of that value for the purple and the blue. The purple and the blue are usually pretty close to each other. And this can vary greatly for whatever league that you're in if you're watching it in the future. But at least in the past couple leagues, at time of recording, yellow life force has always been the most. It also does go for the more expensive things such as reroll fizz, as well as reroll chaos and reroll speed. So the more valuable ones also tend to be yellow life force centric. So it's not just that gamble. That's the primary thing that we're going to be focusing on here, is how do you get the most life force that you can to sell it? And for reference, at a very high end, you can get between 15, 30, I've even seen 35,000 life force in a single map. And you can see about 3,800, right? We saw 3,800 in bulk. So you can get about, 6 to 10 divines worth of yellow juice. We call it juice as well. The life force. You can get about 6 to 10 divines of life force in a single map. And that's only with like 1 or 2 divines invested per map. Now, that is the crop rotation strategy that we'll be getting into in a second. That is also not very, very consistent. That's kind of an RNG type of thing. Considering how easy it is to do harvest, I think this is one of the most reliable, easiest strategies to do. All right, so this is a more normal harvest. Let's try to get both of these on the screen. It's kind of tough. This is a more normal harvest. You're going to see these patches of double harvest right here, and you have to make a decision which one do you want to extract the juice from. By default, you will always wilt the one that you don't choose. That one will disappear. So I have to choose between purple and yellow right here. Also, what you're looking at is the gray ones are white monsters. The white ones, I believe, are magic monsters. And then the kind of light blue ones, these are the rare monsters. And generally, the monsters below the rare will drop literally 0 life force. You'll actually get nothing from these guys. So you're pretty much just evaluating the number of rare monsters between each other. Now, the magic monsters can drop a little bit, but like I said, it's primarily just gonna be the rare monsters that drop most of your life force. Which one are you expecting to get the most life force from? So here, because I have 2 Vivid Watchers instead of 1 Wild Bristle Matron, I would expect to get roughly 2 much, there's a pretty high variance here, but roughly twice as much life force from the yellow one. Also, we know that yellow is worth more than twice as much as the purple. So in a regular little harvest situation, you want to check the prices, but because yellow is worth so much more, I'm just always going to click the yellows. So by default, I'm going to evaluate these right here. I see I have 2 yellow, 2 purple, yellow, purple, yellow, purple. So I'm going to click yellow, yellow, and then these ones don't matter. I'm just going to go for the one that has more life force. So we have 1 and 1, and then because, we can get a little bit more from the magic, I'm going to click the 7 here. We got the 7 rares, or the 7 magics versus the 6 magics. So I would click this one right here, and then I would click here as well. We have 2 yellows, so I would evaluate between these, and because I have 6 Vivid Razor Legs versus 5, I would click this one. But we always assign much higher priority to the rares. So if we just want to show a very simple sample here, so I'm going to click this one, and then you have to click twice. Because there are 2 different steps here. So you can see this one wilted, it disappeared. However, there are ways to make it less likely to wilt, which we'll talk about in the Atlas and strategy portion of this video. So we clicked once, it did the wilting step, it chose whether it wilted or not. Sometimes it won't, there is a chance, like I said, but we click again, and then it's going to spawn monsters in waves. So it's going to do the normal monsters, as well as some of the magic monsters, and then the rare monsters will eventually come out. So the rare monster, you'll see it'll always drop significantly more than the other ones. You saw the magic one drop 21, but then the rare drops 78. And that's just what you're going to generally expect. So if we continue going down here, in this situation, the Vivid Nestback, you would say, hey, normally I want to pick the yellow one no matter what. But because the Vivid Nestback, we have 0 rare monsters here, I would expect very close to 0 life force from this patch. So I'm going to click this one anyway because it has 2 wild infestation queens here. So I'm going to get 2 rares, so I'm actually expecting to get some life force. Whereas this patch, I would actually get none. So we kill these guys, we get a good amount of life force right here. And then here, we have 2 on the yellow, so we're going to do this one. 2 rares on the yellow patch. So there's that. What else goes into the amount of life force that drops? Area quantity also matters. Player quantity doesn't matter, so whatever you put on your gear, you got your gold worms on, you got your whole full magic find setup, that does not matter, but the area quant does matter. So this is a medium rolled up map, there's nothing on it. 52% quant is very little, or it's just just a moderate map, right? But you can make this a lot higher by rolling up a really big map, doing T17s, of course, we'll talk about that a little bit later, as well as doing altars. The big thing that you generally want to do is blue altars. If your build can do it, that's where you get the most quant. But if you can't do blue altars, I do also recommend red altars. And then ideally you do, I guess this is getting into the Atlas stuff, but all of these nodes here, increased effective explicit modifiers, that will increase the amount of quantity on your map, which will increase the amount of quantity from the life force that the monsters drop in Harvest. Notably though, other things like Delirium quant will not affect it. It's only the global area quant that is affected by altars. In addition, pack size. So pack size is also more monsters. Pack size gets multiplied times quantity. So those 2 things together are what you want to focus on when you're rolling your map. Pack size and quantity. All right, and then the last patch right here. So this has 6, this has 5. So I'm going to click this one right here. And this map, I didn't roll anything on it. I didn't put anything on the map device. I just opened up a map and I got Harvest because I also have a lot of Harvest chance on my Atlas tree. So this is just a 0 investment map, and we can take a quick look at what I got out of this one map. So this map, I got almost nothing. And I think that's important to show in modern Path of Exile after 324, the amount that you get if you don't do Scarabs, if you don't roll up big maps. Elkin Go is like kind of dead right now. And we've seen that between Harvest, Essences, if you saw the video a couple weeks ago, all of these baseline strategies really ask of you, even Incursion these days, wants you to use Scarabs if you can to try to get a lot more out of it. With that said, we saw 3,800 juice in bulk. 417 divided by 3,900 is 0.1 divines. With 0 investment, we got 0.1 divines, which is 13 chaos. And that's only counting the yellow. This is probably like 3 to 4 chaos of the purple juice right here. With that said, if we did this encounter really quickly, this is 15 chaos or so of just pure profit with 0 investment. just running in the harvest, doing it, and getting out. And as you saw in the intro clip, this can get multiplied much, much higher to the point where you're getting nearly 10 divines per map if you get a little bit lucky. So that's how you want to do your harvest. Also, there's one more rarity that was not in that patch. That is the boss rarity, which we have right here. So they have specific names. So in the example here, this is the yellow boss. Namharim here, Born of Night. This is a cat boss. The purple one is a bear boss. Watch out for him. He hits really, really hard. And then the blue one is a, is it like a lizard? It's like a lightning lizard. Yeah, there are 3 different bosses here there's one for each color. And the bosses have a chance of dropping a Sacred Blossom. And the Sacred Blossom is currently worth 1.2 divines. Again, you know, look at it, whatever it is in your current league at the time. Feels like it's like a 1 out of 8 to 1 out of 10 drop rate. I did fight it quite a bit yesterday. And I fought like 15, 20 bosses yesterday. I think I got a little unlucky, but I only got 1 Sacred Blossom. And that's also why one of the strategies that I talk about to you guys in a little bit, I don't think is the best. The Sacred Blossom is right here, and I'll show you guys the encounter real quickly. This is the final boss encounter of Harvest. So this will open up the boss encounter of fighting Oshabi in the Heart of the Grove. It gives you this unique arena here. It's just inside the Harvest encounter, and you fight a boss. She isn't really hard anymore in the modern Path of Exile. You know, at the time of recording, she is very, very easy, and I'll show you how easy she is in a second. I'll try to show you the different stuff that she does if you want to learn the boss fight real quickly. I'm not going to teach it very accurately because my character is so overpowered. It's not really going to be fair. But she comes out. She has a few different moves, and she's pretty easy to fight these days in modern Path of Exile. If you have a pretty strong character, even your league start character, once it's fully put together, you'll pretty much just not even notice the fight. You'll get this little like headdress icon on the mini map, so you can see that. But yeah, she's pretty much, if you have a strong character, she's not even going to hurt you at all. She has a move where she puts a bunch of thorns around you, or a bunch of branches around you. You have to break out because then it'll do like 1 big hit. Also, it'll change colors, and it'll change like the type of moves that she's doing on you, types of attacks that she's doing on you. She will periodically teleport around a little bit. Then you have to look for her again, find her on the mini-map. She'll summon a couple adds once in a while. Let's see if I can just get her to do a couple things. She'll do this whip attack. She'll summon some vines that'll whip you. Again, this content is from about 3.5 years ago at this point. And the amount of power creep that we've had in the game, she is the easiest. I hesitate to even really call her a boss at this point, because she is just really, really easy. She's like Itziri tier, basically. So yeah, if you have a really, really strong character and you remember to press your flasks, she pretty much can't hurt you. So let's see. I'll just kill her, I guess. Yeah, that's really all she has that's notable. I don't know. Like I said, she's really, really easy. So she doesn't have that much life. You do some damage, and then she'll just die. Yeah, here's the thorn attack. So she'll do this, and you want to destroy the thorns and get out, because then it's going to do a big attack inside the thorns as when that finishes. Anyway, let's kill her real quickly here. And she's dead. She has a near 100% chance, if not actual 100% chance, of the Sacred Crystallized Life Force. As you can see, is worth exactly the same as the invitation at time of recording. That is a thing that you can always check. Maybe you can do some arbitrage and just kill her and get the Crystallized Life Force and sell that if you want to, you know, for like a little bit of profit. But generally, it's pretty normalized, and this is not really worth your time. So she also drops a couple other uniques that are usually not worth very much outside of League Start. And so that is the final boss encounter, Oshabi, of the Harvest encounter. All right, that's the dry stuff. That's the beginner stuff. We're over that. If all you clicked ahead on the timestamp, welcome back. This is the actual farming. So let's get into it. There are 2 primary ways that people are farming right now, at least at time of recording. This could change dramatically based on Scarab prices, but at time of recording, one of them is much, much better than the other one, to the point where the other one is like, I don't know. I feel like the economy is being irrational with how bad the one of them is. So let's go over the bad one first. We're going to talk about not crop rotation first. So let's do a quick overview of the Atlas first. Click the harvest little icon, and you'll get the highlight of the harvest nodes. Generally, you're going to take pretty much all of them. So I'll give you guys a couple example atlases in the description below. But really, the important thing to note about here is you want to just take most of the harvest nodes. So up top right here, we have 60% increased chance to contain a tier 4 plant. Tier 4 plants are the bosses. Bosses drop more life force. They drop the Sacred Blossom. Also, a 10% chance for the unchosen crop not to wilt. So that's the example where 10% of the time you could actually get lucky and get both plots if you just click on one and it won't wilt the other one. So that's just really, really, really nice. The 3 leading nodes right here, 10% chance for tier 3 plants. Tier 3 plants are the rare ones, kind of the juicy ones that you're pretty much aiming for to get your life force. Doubling season, this is just mandatory. Life force has a 10% chance to be duplicated. And then we have another 9% increased life force. So, just pretty much mandatory nodes right there. Chance for Sacred Grove, you can go for this, but some strategies force the Sacred Grove regardless, primarily the one that I care about. So we don't care about this node right here. Even if you're doing the non-crop rotation strategy, the default Rusted Scarab is so cheap and so free that I recommend just tossing that in instead. So the chance for Sacred Grove nodes, I find them basically pointless. That's why down here, we never ever take these 4. This will give you a 30 plus 45, 75% chance for Sacred Grove. You can get a 110% chance. You only need 100 to get a Sacred Grove on your map. You can force it on the Atlas if you want to. That's fine. The low tier Scarabs are basically free as well. And I don't want to jump the gun, but yeah, these guys are basically free. They're half a chaos each. Those Scarabs can just force it. You don't have to waste the nodes on your Atlas passive tree. Next up is this wheel right here. So 50% chance for additional harvest plot. Obviously really nice. Increased quantity of life force. This is chance right here. This is duplicated monsters, which, is basically just more life force as well. And then 10% additional monster right here. More monsters, more life force, and some bonus XP. Why not? These ones, no matter what strategy you're doing, these 3 wheels right here, pretty much mandatory to just fill out, minus the chance for Sacred Grove nodes. They just give you more life force. That's what you care about. That's what you're there for. Now, this one is kind of funky. So this says harvest have a reduced chance to grow a certain type of plant. So if you're going to do a default strategy with no shenanigans, this is what you're going to want to do. Because yellow juice is the most expensive, this does not affect the chance to get a plot in general. It just affects the chance for that plot to roll those nodes. So you want to reduce the chance for it to be purple, reduce the chance for it to be blue, and that increases relatively the chance for it to be a yellow plant, and that's what you care about. That is all the nodes. Crop rotation, we're going to talk about that next. That's going to be the different strategy, but let's talk about the default normal farming strategy. Take these 3 wheels, and then in your default strategy, you want to remove purple and remove blue as much as possible to encourage as much yellow. Maybe the economy gets tipsy-turvy in the future, just balance that with whatever your economy is. Maybe there's a world where purple's worth more than the other 2. The other things that I am doing here that do matter is we want to take the entire hat up here, which says increased effective explicit modifiers, because like I said before, the area, the map quantity is what also encourages more life force to drop. So you want to be taking all of the nodes that say increased effect of modifiers on your map. So all of the glowing nodes right now, these are what you care about. So this top hat right here, you want this wheel here, you want this wheel here, gives you increased effect and more pack size. And then you also want to take this wheel right here, as well as these leading nodes right here. In addition, you want to take increased quantity here and all of the increased quantity right here. Increased quant in your maps is exactly what you're going for more drops, more life force. In addition, like I said, you want to get as much quantity as possible from altars, and I'll try to open a map and get a quant altar to show you an example. The highest quant altars that you can get are the blue ones, the Eater of Worlds altars. So we want to take all of these nodes. We want the increased pack size as well, because that gives us more chance for more altars. So we want the highest pack size right here, Eldritch Gaze, Rampant Growth. We want to get as many quant altars as possible. And then we want to go all around the outside here for increased pack size here as well. More altars, more quant, more life force. That's the entire thing that we're focused on here. If your build gets totally screwed over by the blue altars and red altars are easier for you to run, that's okay, but it is a little bit less optimal. Continuing on before we get into the specific strategy and Scarabs, the other thing is ideally, because quant is the most important thing, you want to roll 8 mod tier 16 maps. You want the biggest, juiciest maps that you can. T17 maps are even better. Kind of talk about that as a bonus thing a little bit later, but T16 8 mod maps. You can buy 8 mod maps from people if you want to, or you can make those maps your own very, very easily using the Cartographer Scarab of Corruption. So if you run your maps with this Corruption modifier, you will always get those 8 mod maps, and they are really, really good. They just guarantee that they are the juiciest thing that you can roll. Strongly, strongly recommend 8 mod maps if you're doing any harvest strategy. And then you want something really juicy. The more quant, the better. So let's open up this map here real quick. Ooh, some Chaos Orbs. Nice. Also, Jungle Valley. So, at time of recording, there are other maps like this as well, but Jungle Valley is kind of the go-to. I believe Mausoleum is another one that's really good. Also, maps that you can run straight to the boss are good for this as well. Something like Mesa, something like Park, something like City Square. Those are all really good maps because you want the more chances that you can get to get the quant altars, right? So if there's a boss on the altar, there's the boss chance, and then there's the player and minion. And if the boss chance can show up, that means that it can't be a quant altar. It only affects the boss. If it's a map where the boss hasn't spawned yet, or if you've already killed the boss, any altars that show up after that point will only be quant altars. And that's what you care about. We only want quant altars. So Jungle Valley right here is the perfect example. Jungle Valley has that spider boss that comes down, and because the boss doesn't count as existing in the map until you go into that room, all of the altars that show up only say player and minions. There will be no boss altars whatsoever on Jungle Valley. Also, you'll notice that the map that I put in was 110% quant. Because of all of the increased effect of modifiers that I put onto the map, we juiced it as much as possible, like 32% reflect, plus 3 proj, etc. All of that stuff got juiced up. Now that 110% quant is 215% quant. So we have way more increase than the original map that we put in. That's going to give us much, much more life force. So the nice thing about Jungle Valley here is all the altars. We have no boss altars can show up. So we're just going to be looking for the word quantity right here. Right here, perfect. So player gains, da-da-da. If you're going to do this strategy, ideally you have a build that can get around the downsides, or you don't care about the downsides, or you got Cast and Death Portal or something, because you want to make this as juicy as possible. Luckily, with my build, I can run all blue altar modifiers. Some of them can be a little scary, and I do have an increased elemental resistance flask right here. If I do click a lot of minus cold and minus lightning res, that does show up a lot. I do have to put on this topaz flask if I click too many of those. But most of these I don't really care about. So all I'm looking for is the word quantity right here. So if I click this, you saw that 215 went up to 237. That immediately juiced the area quantity, so that's what we care about. And let's go to the next altar. Let's see how many of these I can find. All right, next one right here. So again, these downsides can be pretty scary. 36% reduced defense per frenzy charge, minus 58% physical damage reduction. Luckily for my build, they don't affect me at all, because my build was entirely set up to do back to basics farming. Oh, we got a pretty juicy one here. So additional, nearby enemies gain 100% physics for lightning. These can be pretty scary if you don't have a tanky build. Holy cow, we're getting many, many, many quant altars. And you can see it's going up. We're at 310% increased quantity right now. And it's pretty good. This is as much quantity as nothing here, right? Nothing here, so we don't really care. We just click the minions. But T17 maps get even higher. I got to 550% quant, 550 on a T17 the other day. It gets absolutely wild. Because T17s, everything's just juicier and bigger. All right, that was pretty good. So remember, we put in a 110% quantity map, and then with all of the juice that we put into it, we went to 310% quantity. And again, player quant doesn't matter. Anything on your gear doesn't matter. It's just the area quantity, which is just what you roll on the map. Increased effective modifiers from the Atlas, and then the altars, which can juice it up. As you can see, I have 95% quant here and 120% rarity from clicking all of those quantity altars that I could. And I'll just quickly show you what we can get out of this. So we get 2 right here. So if you recall, we got, what was it, 600, 700 yellow juice from an entire map when we had that 55% quant map. That wasn't rolled up or anything at all. It was just whatever. So just from this one plot, we got about 500 or so, right? 500 from one single plot. And this gets way crazier if we just kind of keep going here. Also, you can't do, while there's still monsters out from a single plot, you can't click on these other ones. You have to do them one by one, which is kind of annoying. So let me clear out the rest of this one, and we'll just tally up the amount that I get. All right, so there we go. As you saw, this was a 0 investment map. I put in no Scarabs or anything. This was just a tier 16 8 mod map that I had. It was the first one I grabbed. I tossed it in. 0 investment. I got 1,300 crystallized life force, or 1,300 vivid, and 1,053 primal. Recall that it was 3,900 or so per divine, so I got 1/3 of a divine right there. So just from the yellow, I got 37 chaos, and just from the blue, I got about 1/3 of that, about another 10 chaos or so. So just from a random 8 mod map with 0 scarabs, I got about 45 to 50 chaos in a single map. And if you have a very fast character that can do this really quickly, and you're not taking your time and just recording and talking the whole time, you can run your map in about 2 to 3 minutes or so, and just extrapolate that out with 0 investment. 2 to 3 minutes, let's even say worst case 3 minutes. You can run about 20 maps an hour. 20 maps times 50 chaos divided by 130. At time of recording, that is 7.69, very nice. Divines of pure profit, You know, putting in an 8-mod map, 0 Scarabs, 7.69 Divines, pure profit in 1 hour. You know, that's granted, you're kind of running at a breakneck pace, just blasting your maps as quickly as possible, but that's just an example of what your baseline can be. Again, everything is extrapolated and can change based on the league that you're watching, but if you're struggling to make currency, this is a baseline that you can go for with nothing else invested, but it gets much, much better. So let's start talking over, finally, real strategies and things that you can do. All right, I guess we're going to go over the Scarabs first, and then we'll talk about the Cornucopia. So there are 3 different Harvest Scarabs. Luckily, it's pretty simple. The first one, area contains the Sacred Grove. Like I said before, I do recommend just using this instead of the chance to get Sacred Grove right here, because this will save you 5, 6, 7 passive points on the Atlas tree, and only at the cost of a 0.5 Chaos Scarab. These are just free, guarantee it. The chance to get it doesn't really matter, so I do recommend using that. And then we have 2 other Scarabs here. Harvest Scarab of Doubling. Life Force dropped by Harvest monsters is duplicated, but they have 100% more life. It doubles whatever life that they have. So all of the life increases that they have, it is then doubled 100% more, but the Life Force is duplicated. So just with this Harvest Scarab of Doubling, what you just saw, I said about 50 Chaos in that one map, this would just double it. It just straight up doubles it, so that 50 Chaos would be 100 Chaos per map if I just put in this Harvest Scarab. This Scarab at time of recording is about 6 Chaos. I would go from 50 to 100 Chaos per map at the cost of 6 Chaos. So I go to straight up 94 Chaos profit per map, only adding the Harvest Scarab of Doubling by itself. This is absolutely mandatory. Like I said before, Elk and Go is dead. If you're doing a strategy, you use the Scarab, you know, as long as it's not too expensive. So this is mandatory. Doesn't matter what your strategy is. You always, always, always use the Scarab of Doubling. Now, next up is the Harvest Scarab of Cornucopia. So this very explicitly denotes a type of strategy because it does not work with crop rotation, which, like I said, we're going to get into in a second, which is the better strategy. At least at time of recording, it's way, way better. Anyway, what Cornucopia says is that if area contains the Sacred Grove, which it always will, because we got this little guy right here, it will contain up to 1 additional tier 4 seed of each type if possible. What that means is ideally you want to have 1 plot of each type, and then you have guaranteed, at least on one of those plots, to have a tier 4 seed, which is a boss. So if I have at least 1 red, 1 blue, and 1 purple plot in that harvest, I am guaranteed to get at least 3 boss encounters. At time of recording, this Scarab is 0.3 Divine, so set that as your baseline expectation. We are now investing a little bit over. Again, this is only 6 Chaos, this is half a Chaos. We would be adding the Cornucopia right here. This guarantees that we get at least 1, you know, if we have different colors though, at least 3 boss fights in the encounter. Like I said earlier, in my testing, I had about a 1 out of 8 to 1 out of 10 drop chance of the Sacred Blossom from the boss encounters. So if we extrapolate that out, in our best case harvest, we're going to be fighting about 3 bosses. You can actually get more than 3, but you know, you're guaranteed 3 if you get 1 of each color. If you have 3 boss encounters with a 1 out of 10 chance to drop a Sacred Blossom, and it's a 0.3 Divine investment to do that map, it's going to take you about a little bit less than 4 maps, but we can say about 4 maps to get a Sacred Blossom, which is currently worth 1.2 Divines. But it's going to cost you 1.2 Divines of Cornucopias on average to get that Sacred Blossom. So your profit is entirely coming from just the life force that you're getting. Now, with that said, bosses do drop a lot of life force, but they come with one big downside. The bosses take forever to fight. They bug out very often. You have to like go off screen and come back on. They're going to glitch out. They're not going to phase. They're really annoying. They're damage sponges, you know, particularly with the doubling. They take so long to fight that your 2 to 3 minute map could be 3, 4, or even a 5 minute map because the bosses bug out and they're really annoying to fight. And so the entire adding the Cornucopia to get those Sacred Blossoms, that drop chance, I feel like it's entirely nullified out. At least in my testing, it entirely nullified the reason why you would do Cornucopia. Now, the bosses do drop a lot of life force, but because they take so long to fight and the price of the Cornucopia nullifies the Sacred Blossom on average, that you're just kind of getting more life force, but it's taking so long, right? It's making your map take almost twice as long, and you're not getting twice as much life force with the Cornucopia, such that I personally didn't find worth it. Also, to optimize this a little bit more, you do want to run the Monstrous Lineage Scarab. This will increase the magic pack size, so you get more magic monsters, which can drop life force. You do want to toss this in as well. So again, Harvest Scarab, Harvest of Doubling, the Cornucopia, and then a Monstrous Lineage. then you don't have to put anything here. You just want increased quant, right? That's what we care about. Put in your 8 mod map. This is 89% quant. We'll see what it is when we go in. That 89% went up to 176. Let me do my altars real quick, and we'll go into the harvest. Pretty darn good. We got 74 quant here, 153 rarity. So that one, I think it was like 178, 187, something like that, went up to 250. So anyway, just to show you guys what this looks like, now you are guaranteed to get some tier 4 bosses, no matter what, because of the Cornucopia. So as you can see, this can be kind of unfortunate. The blue and the purple guaranteed ones are now opposite of each other on the same plot. So now I have to choose one of them and the other one might wilt. So you're not even guaranteed to be able to do all 3 of them, even if you have all 3 colors, because they can wilt one of the other ones. So I'm only guaranteed 2 boss fights here. So I have, I can choose between the blue and the purple, and then I have 1 guaranteed yellow one here as well. And then as you can see, it's just 1 guaranteed of each color. And yeah, I'll show you guys the bear fight here real quick, and I'll show you why this can be so annoying. The yellow one is the one that bugs out the most, though. But you'll see, we should get some pretty good life force. So, in that last example, we had, about 1,000 life force. And this will be the example now of a 250% quantity with the doubling and the boss fights as well. I find the bear fight the one that bugs out the least. So you, all 3 of the bosses, you do damage to them, then they're going to go up into the air as like a plant. They're going to summon ads, and then you kill the ads and they come back down. And as you can see, 1356 life force just from killing the boss. That's a lot of life force. If that was yellow life force, that would be about 40 chaos or so just by itself. But again, they do take a lot longer to fight. It does slow you down quite a bit. This strategy is not bad. And if you don't want to do the crop rotation, which we talk about in just a second, if you don't care about the crop rotation, you find it annoying, you can't deal with the RNG of it, then yeah, I'm with you. I get you. But I do strongly recommend the crop rotation, because these boss fights do take a long time. But let's see how much juice we get out of total. As you saw, that boss dropped about 1,000 or so, so that's a third of a divine, just like that, or a little bit less than a third of a divine. A little bit more here. You can see from the rares, they're dropping 200 life force themselves. Oh, the other thing, I don't think I mentioned this earlier, is if you don't see any rare monsters, I actually skip the plot entirely. So if you don't see the light blue color, you only see gray or white names. I just skip it because the chance to get life force there is so low that it's not really worth your time. Like if both plots look like this and I just saw gray and white, just skip it. Strongly recommend that. All right, last plot right here. And let's see how much life force we got. I think that's all of it. Yeah. So total here, with a little bit more investment, we invested, remember, 0.3 divines because we wanted to fight the boss. So the total revenue here before profit is about half a divine. And then again, we invested 1/3 of a divine here. So we're down to only getting about 0.2-ish divines of pure profit from this map. And that's with us also taking additional time. And, I am taking my time talking here, but you can see that it did take me an additional minute or so just to fight the bosses. And yeah, they just take significantly longer. This is my demonstration here of just showing if you don't get those Sacred Blossoms, and you will get about one every 4 maps or so. If you don't get those Sacred Blossoms and the unlucky thing that you can get with fighting the bosses, if you want to do the most baseline strategy, in my opinion, don't even use the Cornucopia Scarab. Just use the doubling and the baseline and the lineage for the increased magic pack size, and just, 3 scarabs and go, ignore Cornucopia, and you should be totally fine. I think that's probably just the best baseline because Cornucopia is so expensive. If Cornucopia were 0.1 to 0.2 divines, then I would think it would be worth it. But, we're talking 0.3, even 0.4 in bulk, maybe even 0.5 in bulk if you want to buy big enough. At that amount of investment, the ROI there, I think, is just not there. And I do not recommend this strategy while the price of the Scarab is that high. It could change in the future. Definitely monitor that if you're considering that strategy. So the most baseline thing I recommend is regular Harvest Scarab, doubling, and a Monstrous Lineage. Toss it in and go. Oh, also you can just toss in like a Sacrifice Fragment for another 5% quant. Triple Scarab and go, and you should get pretty darn decent profits. And that's what I recommend right there. All right, now time for the juicy strategy that I really, really love. Again, I'm going to keep emphasizing this. Double check the price of everything before you invest into it. Make sure that your ROI is going to be there. Price of Scarab in the future could change dramatically, but this is a strategy that, you saw those juicy clips at the beginning. What this is we're going to be using the Horns Scarab of Awakening that says you can select one imbued crafting option on the map device. And that means we are going to use Imbued Harvest. So you can keep scrolling down here when you toss in the Awakening. Imbued Harvest says, harvest in area have a 50% chance for the unchosen crop not to wilt, as well as harvested plants have a 50% chance to spawn an additional monster. Now, you can also use Imbued Harvest here with the Cornucopia strategy, but then your investment gets much, much higher, and I don't recommend it. Because the profit margin is lower, like we actually saw the profit margin kind of went down going for the Cornucopia strategy. I don't recommend just doing a raw dog Imbued Harvest or doing it with Cornucopia. What we're going to do here is combining it with this node that I've been ignoring because it's very complicated. It's going to take a while to explain. This is called crop rotation. What it says is harvest crops only contain tier 1 plants. Harvesting crops in your map has a chance to upgrade the tier of plants of different colors. What this means is you're going to go in there. You're going to see a bunch of tier 1 plots. It's only going to be the gray names. When you click on the gray name of, let's say, purple, you click on the gray names of the purple for one of the plots, all of the blue and yellow plots have a chance, not a 100%, but they have a chance to upgrade the tier of the plants of different colors. So purple will upgrade blue and yellow, and then you want to just like keep clicking all the purples. Upgrade the blue and yellow, blue and yellow, and blue and yellow. And then when the purples are gone, you want to click all the blues, right? Because we want to min-max the yellow, right? We want to click all the blues, and we just keep clicking on all the blue ones for a chance to upgrade the yellows. So ideally, we'll have a couple yellow plots at the very end that have been upgraded by all the purple and the blues, and then we'll have very, very juicy plots. We can have plots with like 3 or 4 bosses on it, like 8 to 10 rares, and because we are putting them in the juiciest maps that we can, like I said, you can get 15 to 30,000. I've seen examples even more, but in my experience, I was getting 15 to 25,000 yellow juice in the luckiest maps. Now, like I said, it is a chance. I don't know what the exact chance is. Let's say it's a 50-50. So each time I click a purple one, there's a 50-50 chance that the yellow plots will upgrade. In addition, we also have the Heart of the Grove here for a 10% chance for the unchosen crop not to wilt. This is very useful because if we really want to risk it, you could be a purple and a yellow plot that are paired up. You can click the purple one for the chance to not wilt the yellow one. And then you can really juice up that yellow one if you want to like take a risk there. However, that is much better because we use the Horn Scarab of Awakening. If we go down again to Imbued Harvest, 50% chance for the unchosen crop not to wilt. So we actually have the 10% from the Atlas as well as the 50% here for a 60% chance for the unchosen crop not to wilt. And then every single plant that harvests, every single one that spawns a monster, has a 50% chance. We have a 1.5x pack size multiplier, basically, on the number of monsters that come out, which is just 1.5x on the Life Force. So let's do an example. I'm going to continue doing this in Tier 16 8 mod maps, but you can do this in T17. And if you really, really want to min-max it, do the exact same strategy in a juicy T17. T17s have much, much higher quant. This 155, that's going to go up to like 300 before altars, and then that can go even higher. This is kind of the socially accepted setup here for crop rotation. You want to take crop rotation, you want to reduce the chance for purple and blue as much as possible, but you want to reduce the chance for yellow a little bit less, so it keeps it relatively even, but we still want to have a good amount of blue and purple to have a chance to juice up the yellow. Because if it's only yellow, then we can't do the crop rotation and try to like get it up. And, we want to get it up. So just a little editor's note right here. There is some contention. I did kind of mention it in the original recording, but there is some contention about what the best layout is for crop rotation. I just want to present this option as well. This is one that was presented by people that have done some very high, over a million juice farm, in that they entirely reduce only the yellow plots to have as many purple and blue plots as they can to really, really maximize the value of the yellow plots that do exist. However, what you can run into, and I did try this for a couple maps, I did run into one map where I had 0 yellow plots, and you don't want that situation to happen. So I don't love this layout myself personally, but I do want to present to you guys all of the options that people talk about. So yeah, just a little note there for you guys. Anyway, let's dive in. So for this strategy, what we want to do, because we are doing the Imbued Harvest on the map device, we don't have to use the Rusted Scarab. I keep calling it Rusted, but the default Harvest Scarab, because we are forcing it on the map device right here. We are going to use the doubling, right? That's always mandatory no matter what. We're going to use the Influencing Scarab of Hordes. So the reason why we're doing this is because the bigger pack size of the Influence packs, the more chance that we have to spawn altars to get those quantity altars. And similarly, we are using the Monstrous Lineage, bigger pack size, more altars, more quantity. Now, in terms of investment, Horn Scarab of Awakening at time of recording is a little bit less than a divine. It's 0.9 divines. So we really need to get a lot of juice to realize good profits here. And in my testing, this was absolutely the way to get the most profit. There is some RNG here. You can get unlucky. I might get unlucky here in this video. We'll see what happens. I could get really lucky. For me, this was way more profit margins in the long run. But this is worth 2 divines in the future. Maybe it's not really worth it. Let's do it. Eater of Worlds, Imbued Harvest. These are the Scarabs. Let's go. All right, so that 107 quant went up to 202. And yeah, I'll do the altars here real quick. Hopefully I get lucky, and I'll see you guys in the harvest. All right, pretty good. We put in a 107% quant 8 mod map, and we ended up with 264% quant going into this harvest. So let's see how we do. First off, when you do crop rotation, you want to take a lay of the land. When you walk in, they're all going to be just gray names. They're not going to be upgraded. The number of monsters doesn't change. You want to just upgrade the tier of those monsters to something higher. So we got a little unlucky here, actually, in that all of the yellow plots are paired up right here. It's not the worst thing in the world, but again, right, there's a 60% chance to save the other plot when we choose this one, but a 40% chance to lose it. So if I click this purple one right here, I have a 40% chance to lose this harvest plot. I'm going to do blue first. It doesn't really matter that we have the even amounts, and because blue and purple have the exact same price, really doesn't matter what I click on. So we just click on the low tier ones. They're going to drop close to 0 life force right here. Like I said, right? The gray names and the white names drop very, very low life force. We don't care about that. Luckily, this one did not wilt, so we click the blue one here, right? And when I click blue, it only upgrades purple and yellow. So all the blue ones, not upgraded at all. We click on that. Also, I clicked on some pretty rippy stuff here. 200% fizzes extra. So I might even, let me put a portal down. I might even die. But as you can see, look, this yellow plot has already started to upgrade. So that's great. We have one more blue right here. Do we risk it? Do we risk it? Risk it. Go. We got lucky. All right. So, right, that is a 60% chance to not wilt the other one. We got lucky there. Very happy with that. As you can see, that got upgraded. There's now 2 rares. Let's do this one right here. And yeah, hopefully we can... I'm going to go all the way. I'm actually probably just going to risk it here and juice it up. Try to hit something really, really good for you guys. And you can already see we're starting to get much, much more returns as it starts to juice up. That one's still the same right there. Let's look at these plots. That one has 8 rares, which is insane. This one has 5 rares. Let's risk it. No, see, it wilted. All right, very good. Good to show you guys a failure. But I want to make the biggest single plot possible that I can here to try to get something really good. We'll risk it all the way. All right, this one still has 8. This one here also has 8. Let's risk it. Let's risk it as well, because I really want to see this one get as big as possible. Lucky? We got lucky. Nice. So we did lose 1 yellow plot there for risking it. And I don't explicitly recommend always risking it. For example, if you already see a boss on one of the plots. So we just have 8 and 8. These actually didn't upgrade, really. We still have 8 and 8 here. None of them upgraded to bosses. But if you see a plot... Oh, here we go. It upgraded. I guess it didn't upgrade when it was on the screen. But yeah, previously, right, we had 8 rares, and that was it. When I clicked this one, it now upgraded to 10 rares and 1 boss monster. So previously, all of these monsters were normal, and now they've totally upgraded. So we'll do that one last. So this is what it looks like with 8 rare monsters, right? Remember, a regular plot is 1, maybe 2 rare monsters. If you get very, very lucky, you'll maybe get 3 rare monsters on the very top end. 8 rare monsters in a single pack is, that's this type of strategy alone. So yeah, there's that much. Let's turn this off to pick it up. Also, yeah, this is the easiest way to loot. If you have the beams that are showing up in your loot filter for anything that you care about, you can turn off your loot filter, and it's easiest to just click on the beam to loot it. All right, and let's do the last one, and we'll see how much we get. And again, the total investment on this map was 1 divine or so. 0.9 for the 1 scarab, and then a couple other scarabs on top of that. I need to make sure I don't mess this up, because This is very rippy. Could accidentally die. And maybe, okay, the boss did not bug out. This boss bugs out all the time, the cat. Like, he'll sit there and jump at you constantly. You have to go, like, 2 screens away and then come back. If he's near a wall, especially, he'll bug out a ton. All right, we killed... All right, and we got a Sacred Blossom. So you don't even have to do the Cornucopia strategy to get Sacred Blossoms because we're forcing so many bosses. Or we're getting lucky, right? When we get the bosses on crop rotation. That's 1.2 divines right there. So let's loot this real quickly and see what we got. And again, this is just a 8 mod tier 16 map with 1 divine investment worth of Scarabs. And we'll see what we get here. 14.4 thousand yellow life force. At current prices, of course, tally it up with whatever your current league is. At current prices in bulk, that is 3.78 divines. This added in, let's just say 4 divines. Let's round down, and we'll say that's 4 divines of revenue right here. Even without counting the Sacred Blossom, which is another 1.2 divines, this is 4 minus 1, 3 divines profit in 1 map. This is above average, I would say a little bit, you know, without counting the Sacred Blossom. There are bad maps. I want to make this really clear, actually. You will have bad maps once in a while. You can get very unlucky. It won't upgrade. You can walk away from a map with less than 2,000 or 3,000 total life force, even counting the blue and red, or blue and purple. Very, very important to know that you're going to have some dry spells once in a while. And in my testing, at least, in the dozens of maps that I've run, while there are some absolute duds, you can get unlucky, things won't upgrade, you wilt your yellow plots every single time, you will make really good returns on average, and it gets even crazier if you do a tier 17. Even just doing tier 16 8 mod maps, you can very easily make solid currency this way, and I think it's a lot more fun and engaging, where you're kind of making a couple decisions here, and you're deciding kind of your risk and reward. Just being able to kill a plot and getting thousands of juice from a single plot is much more satisfying than the Cornucopia strategies. So yeah, off the top of my head, I think that should probably answer most of the questions that you guys have. My original plan was to make this a little bit of a shorter video, but I really wanted to get into the meat and bones of this. If nothing changes next league, this is probably what I'm going to get into sooner than later. The prices that I'm talking about right now, we're talking halfway through a league where there's also some crazy economy stuff, but you know, most of the stuff mostly holds true. Early league harvest juice is not worth that much. Be very careful about that. I don't think this is a strategy that you should probably do in the first 2 weeks or so, unless you're going to be doing the actual harvest crafting and, you know, maybe doing some flipping and stuff in the harvest rerolls. So if you're not going to be doing any of that, I do think that, you know, when you really start realizing the profits here is when the Scarabs become available. You can buy them in bulk. You have a strong build that can do this quickly. If I'm going to gauge this around the current league, which, you know, again, is like insane, but around week 2, maybe 3 is when you're going to start seeing some really good profit margins. It's just such an easy go-to strategy that you can also very easily layer on with something else. Anything else that doesn't really require a bunch of Scarabs, you know, if Betrayal gets better again, Elva only requires 1 Scarab, so you can drop one of the pack-size Scarabs here, toss in the Elva Scarab, and you can do that as well. You layer that with some other strategies, you can get some really, really good profits. Thank you guys for watching. Appreciate you all. For everyone that's still a patron and everything, really appreciate you guys trying to do this stuff for you guys and get back to the fundamental educational material that a lot of you guys came here for. This also, to me, represents a little bit of a recentering on what I want to be doing with the channel here. Definitely get subscribed if you want more stuff like this. I've kind of spent a good amount of, just to have a little bit of an epilogue here, I spent quite a lot of time in the past couple months or so really rethinking about what the channel should be. And, you know, I think you guys have noticed that there's been a lot of experimentation with, you know, hey, is this going to be just regular content creator like, oh, Pogface, whatever. You know, the crafting video is literally, you know, 10% of the subscribers on the channel are because of that crafting video. And that's what you guys are here for. You guys aren't here for me just gambling random stuff or whatever. And I get it. So yeah, if you guys are interested in other types of content, you know, just regular soy face, whatever stuff, I think that's going to be moving to the Subtractums Clips channel. A lot of the daily content, less curated stuff, less long form educational stuff. This channel is going to be much more early topical league things, like big high level news stuff, as well as educational and build guides still. That's things that I'm passionate about, but primarily just long form content. The shorter form, you know, highlights from the stream and all that, that's going to be on the Clips channel. I'll make sure that that's linked below if you guys are interested in that. And yeah, thank you guys. Appreciate y'all. And if you watched a harvest farming video halfway through Affliction League and you're still here, really appreciate you guys. And let me know in the comments below that you, you know, you like more stuff like this. But yeah, that's it for me. I'm going to go start editing this video. And again, appreciate you guys a ton. Thank you so much. And I'll see y'all later. Bye.